Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are from Luge in Rimini. I hope you're great. It's a very sunny day in Italy, and I feel good. I just wanted to warn you that if you hear some weird noises, it's my Athena, my dog. She is in heat, and you can definitely hear that most of the times. A couple of you have reached out to me during this time and tell me that there's a lot of stuff, like there's a little confusion going on with how to decode the nonverbal signals of your clients, because we have the shield, the sword, and the crown. Those are the analogical types. Then we have the different problems, freedom, dream, and conscious. Those are the problems. Then we have the metaphysical communication, if they are a realist or an idealist. So today, I'm just going to go back to basics and do the signs of joy and rejections, because really, literally, if you have those down, you can have a conversation with everybody. You can have a deep, true, honest conversation with everybody. And what is even more important for me these days is that if you observe yourself, and sometimes it's hard to be true to ourselves because we don't really know what we want or what makes us happy. If you observe the signs of joy and rejection in yourself, you have a different kind of access to what really drives you, what really makes you happy, but also what really makes you upset and what you're not happy with. Sometimes we don't want to admit it because, as Stefano Benemeglio says, the more you invest in something, let's say you invested 10 years and an X amount of money in your business, it's really hard to close it down, even though you know that's what you need to do. If you invested years and years in a relationship, but you know it's over, it's really hard to close it because you've invested the more time and money and effort and suffering and happiness you invested in this thing, the harder it is to cut it off, because we think we might miss out on something, fear of missing out, or sometimes, or a lot of times, we doubt our choices. And the nonverbal can help you. Maybe today at the end, I'm going to show you how you can actually have a conversation with your body. Your body, you can ask any kind of question almost. Your body will move forward for a yes and backwards for a no. So no, you cannot ask your body open questions, but you can ask a lot of questions. Your subconscious knows what it needs. It knows what it needs, and it has a great clue about what it needs from you. So let's go back to those signs of joy and rejection. And if I can give you any kind of advice, pick one. Pick one signal for a week and just observe that in yourselves and in everybody else. Just look at people and be like, when do they do that? And why do they do that? Remember that if we decode a nonverbal reaction, could be this, we always want a follow-up question to be certain what is going on. Let's say somebody says, I have to go on vacation tomorrow, and they scratch here. You know what this means, or you will know in a couple of minutes, but you don't know why they're doing it. So you have to figure that out. Let's take a look at the signs, and then we'll go through the dystonic 5 points, because this is about either one of those 5 points, but it could be anything. Before you ask follow-up questions, you can't really know what's going on. They might not have enough money. They might not have done the work that they should have done. They might be scared of just having to do the suitcase because their closet is a mess. or they're scared of getting corona, or they didn't have a vaccine yet and they need to do that. So you cannot really know what's going on, but a great follow-up question or speaking about yourself will let you know. Let's dig into it. These are some of the things that we would like to know when we're with a potential client. When we have our private sessions, we train this in different situations. You could be in line at the supermarket, you could be in a bus, you could be at the gym. Everywhere there are people that maybe could need your services. You don't want to miss out on an opportunity to talk to some of those people. What do I need to know? Body language. Decode signs of joy, rejections, and iconic signs. And this is what we're going to do today. Their type: parental, father, parental mother, ego male, or ego female. Those are the different types that we have. And according to these types, you can ask people about something and get a no, and you can ask the exact same people, but in a different way, and you will get a yes. And that's a promise. It's a promise. You want to know their problem and their orientation, if they're realist or idealist. Today, signs of joy and rejection. And I know some of you are like, look, I'm confused because this means this, and when she said this, and she touched her hair, and she scratched here, and then I didn't know what to ask. Just put yourselves out there and have fun with it, and have fun observing yourself, because that is when it gets like, oh, why am I doing that? Why am I scratching here when I'm speaking about going out to eat and so on? And don't worry. As said many times before, you can use this all over the world, because there's no place in the world where this expression means happiness. Nowhere. And that's the beautiful thing about nonverbal. You can't hide. You can't hide, and they can't hide, because the nonverbal is faster than the verbal. You have the nonverbal reaction and then the verbal. So it gives away what the person really is thinking or really feels. And we said that before, that it's not, we don't intend to lie, or sometimes we do, and you can observe that too. But sometimes we pretend, or we try to convince ourselves about something. No, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's not fine. And you see this, so you know. And everywhere in the world, this is happiness, surplus energy, good vibes, and it's always the same everywhere in the world. Of course, we have different kind of cultural, what is, let's say, rules, I call them ethics or rules, what is allowed and what is not allowed, but the basic of nonverbal is the same everywhere. And that means that everywhere in the world, human beings, we are programmed to move towards something that we like, and we're programmed to feel it. Why do you think back in the days, all the shops had the merchandise behind the counter? Today, they make you feel it, they make you taste it, they make you play with it. And that's where the selling is really good, because when you've felt it, when you've touched it, you've gone towards it, the yes is so much harder to not say. The no is moving away. Everywhere in the world, this is a no. And everywhere in the world, moving towards is a yes. Let's move into them. Signs of satisfaction. So if you're talking about something, if you're asking a question, if you're asking someone out, if you're asking them if they know the Tiding Festival, if they know whatever service you sell, and let's say they say no, but they start moving something on the table nearer to them, that is a yes for you. You can go on talking about that. Opposite, move objects away. Let's say I'm sitting in a restaurant talking to someone and I'm meeting someone, there's someone at the table that I do not know, and I start talking about what I do for a living. I teach people nonverbal communication, and they're like, okay. And they start moving the glass literally away from them like this. It's too early for me. I cannot go in and talk about that. So what I could say is, but you know what, let's not talk about work, because I don't know. It does not mean that that person sitting in front of me does not like nonverbal, but I talked about work. So it's either they don't like their work or they don't want to talk about it. It's out of place right now. So the follow-up question could be, or the follow-up comment is, but you know what? Let's not talk about work today because we're just out and I want to have a pizza and I want to relax. And they're like, oh my gosh, yes, I just don't want to even think about it because this and that and this. And that's how you get into a more real conversation, because you kind of figure out what is really going on. So you don't have to not pretend, but and don't tell me you don't listen to people sometimes and you don't really want to listen to them. Don't tell me so, because I know it's not true. I know that I do sometimes. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we were talking about something that I was really interested in, or that I could really show an honest interest in something that I'm not interested in? Because be aware, subconsciously, we read those signals. And the person you're talking to reads them too. It's just on a subconscious level. They might not be aware of it. And that's when they go home and be like, oh, I just felt they were a little weird, or, they were kind of closed, or they didn't pay enough attention to whatever I was talking about. And that's when you were trying to hide that you weren't really interested. So we subconsciously, we know anyway. So you might as well tell. Other signs of satisfaction, lean in. It's the biggest one. And if you even just observing leaning in and leaning away from, it's a lot. Like literally, it's a lot. Observe your kids, your spouse, your friends, yourself. So I had to go to the dentist yesterday, and oh my gosh, I was observing the 3 centers. And for me, it was really important to go because of Corona, I haven't gone for like literally in a year and a half. And I already knew that my emotional center and intellectual center would start talking yesterday morning, like, oh, you should definitely cancel because you need to do this and that. It is a lot more important. And I was like, oh, I literally had to move my body down to the car, be very careful driving, because I know I can hurt myself if I really do not want to do something. So if you really do not want to do something, check out the centers. What are they telling you? Is it an emotional thing? I was scared that, he was going to tell me that I had some stuff that I had to take care of, but it's also an intellectual thing, because it's definitely not cheap to go to the dentist and you never know what's going to happen. Is it something in my moving center? Yes, I have a trauma because I had a lot of teeth work done when I was way too young, according to my opinion today. So observe yourself. It's like my whole body was just like, no, I do not want to go to the dentist. And I had to convince myself. And that way you can get conscious about what is my body feeling? Is it tensing up? Is it just like crunching? Did I not sleep well because I had to go to the dentist? And then you can take it from there, and you get to know yourself so much better. Do I need a little prize? Can I tell myself, okay, well, after I've gone to the dentist, I can go get whatever I want. I can go for a walk, or don't work that day. If you have something really difficult and you would like to have a day off, then take that day off. Be kind to yourself. Uncover body parts. Not if you're at the beach, of course. So everything that uncovers body parts, unless there's like a different, like a different temperature coming up in the room, it's a yes. So people that open up, if they unbutton, or they literally roll up their sleeves like this. And you've been standing there for like an hour or whatever, or you've been talking to someone for 5 minutes, and they start talking about hockey. Let's say they talk about hockey or sports cars, and you might be someone that is not interested. I don't even know why I said cars now, because I don't like sports cars. But you might be someone that is not that interested in sports cars. So you're like, what do you do? Tell me what you do. Ask yourself what you do. Are you like, well, I don't like sports cars at all? If you can see they're really interested. No, you don't, probably. And you kind of roll with it, and then you try to talk about something different. But if you see this, you know it's important for them. If you want to be empathetic, whatever, if you want to really get to know them and figure out how they think and what they're all about, there's a story there. There's always a story when someone talks to you. So figure it out. So if it's this, what kind of sports cars do you like? It sounds like you really like them. Okay. And that's a yes. That's another yes. So you have 2 yeses on sports cars. But it could also be that last week he or she went in a sports car to another place, to some place that they really loved, and was like, yeah, well, because the car it went so fast, so I got from A to B in no time. And that's completely different. And that's why you want to ask the follow-up question. Does that make sense? Like maybe it's a sports car and they like it because it's fast. Because you go from one place to a different place a lot faster than in a Clio or whatever. And then you go into that discussion. A no, cover up body parts. It's something very subtle. It can be a little thing like this. And people that are shy normally do it. They cover up because it gives you some kind of protection. You feel more protected the more covered up you are. And culturally, if we cover ourselves up, we feel safer. So covering up body parts is a no-no. And it's, of course, the opposite of the other one that was uncover body parts. Open up and closing in. So open stance, open up, and closing in. Touch hair. Touch hair is a sign of satisfaction. It can be even people that don't have hair, they do like this. Men, they can tend to do like this, and they literally give oxygen to their brain, whereas women, they do like this. So it's a sign of satisfaction. If I do this and I put my palm outwards, if it's me, I'm female, and there's a male in front of me, I can do this as a yes. But if I do this and I open up the palm, it's like it's not a free access, but it's like you can keep talking, because we don't normally open up our fragile spots like that. And I can't wait for you to share with me what you've seen. Just pick one, okay? Pick the one that you like and check for those. Analog kiss. And if you want, pick this one, because it's really easy. It's fast, but it's easy. If there's something you really like, the kiss comes up. Mm. And let's compare it to rubbing your nose. At a dinner party, a lot of people there, or at a conference, or you're sitting in a waiting room somewhere, the dentist or the doctor. I did not speak to anybody yesterday. I was just like sitting there praying, please, please, please let this go well. It went really well, so I'm super happy. But anyway, there were actually 2 people there, so 2 opportunities missed for getting to know someone, or having people know about my services. You're with someone and you talk about your service. Let's say you're a feng shui consultant, or you are a coach, or a KonMari consultant, or you're a singer and you want to find a new band. You can start talking about it, and you get this. And okay, that's an okay. I can move forward. I can either ask a question if they're interested, or if they know anything about singing or nonverbal communication, if they've ever heard about it. Go back, to the 5 questions that you can ask for client to get clients. That's really important. Those are amazing questions. So you move on. But whereas if you get this, but it can be anything, like literally, if let's say I say, I used to be an opera singer, but I don't do that anymore because my passion is nonverbal communication and tiding. And they're like, okay, so I have no idea, right? And I think that's why some of you tell me it can be kind of confusing, because I said opera, I said tiding, what else did I say? Singing, but I don't do that. And I said passion. So there's a lot of words with emotional tension in there. I just take it one at a time, one at a time. So I can say something like, my favorite opera singer is Maria Callas. I think she's a genius. Okay, so it wasn't that. Or I get at this, or I move forward, or they tell me, oh yes, she's amazing. I heard her, singing Norma, or whatever. You can talk a little bit about, but I want to figure out what this is. It could be interesting, because maybe it's something they're not good at, and you can help them with it. So passion, you use another sentence with passion. You can even say passion fruit. I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but that is how it works. It's like, oh, I wish they had passion fruit in this restaurant. And you get this. Now what? A lot of possibilities. One, they're not doing what they're passionate about, and they would like to. They're very passionate about something. They're trying to do it. It's not working. You can offer your services. Or something completely different. But this thing was on passion. So we want to dig in and see what's going on, to get to know that person. Can I help them? Can they help me? What is going on? Have a real conversation, and not like a blah, 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 blah conversation, what's going on, or talking about so many conversations about what other people do, think, or have done, or should have done, or should do in the future. That is all unreal. Nothing of that is real. And I know this is a little like harsh to some people, but when we talk about what other people think, say, should do, should have done for us, there's nothing of that is real. It's all made up, and it's all in our mind. And we talk to ourselves like that most of the day. Scary. So just stop and observe. Well, back to passion. Maybe they didn't do this on passion, so go back to tiding. It's like I had the most wonderful experience with tiding. I met Marie Kondo and so on, and they're like, okay, so now I know there's something going on with tiding. And either, again, lots of possibilities. Think of some. What could it be? Number one, they're not good at tiding. Number two, they're really good at tiding, and they live with someone that hate that they're that tidy. So never expect anything. Never pretend to think that you know what's going on, because you don't. It could be something totally different. Like they have tons of stuff and they really love it all, but they can't figure out how to categorize it. Or tidying can mean so many things. Maybe they need to be more tidy at work. Maybe they need to be more tidy at home. Or maybe someone, so that was on, maybe they need to be more tidy at work. You see, now you know. If you were to talk to me, what would you have said? And I had a client today, and it's, if you have an ego male in front of you, and you want them to remember you. So this was a conversation. I know a lot of singers, not a lot. I met some very famous opera singers that it's like they live on a different planet. Like I went to their master classes, and they used to be, very famous, and it's like they don't know what's really going on. Lykke. ego female. So it's like, if she wants to have me remember her, okay, think about her. She could say something like this. Oh, it sounds like, why did you, it sounds like you went to a lot of master classes with like very famous people. Then why aren't you doing opera? What happened? What went wrong? And if you say something to an ego female like that, it may sound like you shouldn't say that, but you should, because I'm going to think about you for at least a week, because somewhere inside, I know she's right. So if you want to connect to people in that way, that you have, we call it that you have a potential on these people. You have to insert, like, it's little like an Achilles heel, and you have to name that, because they won't forget you, but they will be interested in talking to you, because they're like, oh, well, she didn't just say, whatever, but it must have been really nice. Most people are like, oh, it must be wonderful to sing opera and blah, 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 blah. And you don't notice these people. It's not that you don't notice, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's what you usually say. So if you want to have potential on a client, on a male, on a female, on your kids, get in there and just squeeze that Achilles heel a little bit. Let's go back. Ring. Ring up and down is not hard to figure out what that means. Ring turns round and round, that you kind of do this with. Sorry that I don't have. It's family. You're thinking about someone it's a little the same as this, that you need to tie people that do this a lot. It's either a habit, something they used to do, something they've seen a parent do, or just they like to tie people to them, have like tight relationships. And same thing with the ring. If you move it around like this, family, and up and down, it's pleasure. And no, regroup like this. There's something that I don't like, so I kind of like try to push my clothes away and regroup like this, because it's like, did not like that. Here, this is pure pleasure, and then behind the ear is hidden, and just the ears are everywhere where we wear jewelry, well, you can have people that kind of like play with it like this. It's the same thing as before. They like to tie people, have like tight relationships. And it can also just be a pacifier. Like it's a way that they use to pacify themselves, which could give you a hint that they're in some kind of emotional tension. Tongue, like this. Animals do it, kids do it, like, what's for supper? Did you make cake today? It's so good. And adults, we just do it really fast. Remove a lint. And they're like, it's been sitting there for 10 minutes or whatever, for the whole dinner or the movie or whatever, wherever you are. And they suddenly, because you say, what could we say? Oh, well, let's go back to music. I love pop music. So you don't know, okay? Maybe they went out and wanted popcorn and they couldn't get it. So pop goes back to that, and they go this, and that's why you wanna answer. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get a little crazy. You want to ask a follow-up question. So because pop music for me, when I was young, it makes me think back in the old days. I was listening to Wham, and I was listening to Duran Duran, or, there were these two groups, Duran Duran or Wham. Which one were you into? And they're like this. Okay, no more talk about pop music for this guy. Or it could be they're like, yeah, you know what? I tried to sing, and I actually played in a band. I was a guitarist, and they wanted to play pop music, but I wanted to play rock music. And it didn't happen. We didn't do anything with it. They were like, oh, we should do pop music because that's trending now. Whereas I wanted to do rock music, and then I just left, and I stopped playing the guitar, and I never played again. And you're like, all right there, just from this little uh take, this little thing, you get something that is real about them, a hurt, something that was important. Eyes down is yes, and eyes up is no. And this is a really fast one, so you have to be like, don't stare too much at people, but to see that it's like, oh, have you heard about tidying? You know how it's like the new therapy. It helps a lot of people to figure out what they want to do with their life and live happier in their homes. And it's like, oh, sorry, I did it wrong. It's like, yes, because you would be surprised how many times, I mean, we don't do that, it's only other people that do it. People can ask if, have you heard of this and this and that? And people are like, yes. And they're like, up, and they haven't. So these little hints, and it doesn't matter. I don't know why we feel we have to know everything today. I don't think it used to be like that. Like you can't say, oh, have you heard about it? It's so great, it's so amazing, this and this. And you're like, no, I do not want to admit that. Do you just admit it? Like, I don't know. Do you admit that you don't admit it? That's probably a good question. Closed hands, we have that. So eyes up, no, and eyes down, yes. And jewels. Everywhere we have jewels are focal points that are important. So if we touch these, it's a sign of yes, you can move on. You can go on talking about whatever you were talking about. And let's talk a little bit about how you can connect, how we can connect to ourselves a little bit more with these signs, and be more honest and not share burdens, but let's say, like, I do not like to clean. Okay, everybody that knows me, no, I do not like to clean. I love to tidy, but I do not like to clean. And it's like every time my body, look at this. Okay, so what if I really don't like it like that? Let's say that every time I talk about cleaning, even when I'm sorry, but it's like, it's just, oh my gosh. And I don't know why dust is just, oh, it gets to me because it just comes back. It's just like grass, just, it won't go away. Um, Figure out, okay, is it worth for me to have someone come clean my home? Because I really, really, really don't like it. But no, that's not the way it works, okay? Because my three centers, they immediately go into conflict. One is like, well, you should see it as a ritual and you should be able to clean for yourself. And two is like intellectual, oh, it costs money and maybe you could use that money for someone else. And moving center is like, blah, it's just dead because it does not want to clean. And that's how I can be more honest with myself. And I know it's a simple example, but it means a lot for me to be able to tell myself, no, you deserve someone to help you clean because you really don't like it. And I don't want to do it. Maybe I can do something different. Let's say you have to put up makeup, and every time you put up makeup, you scratch yourself. What does it mean? It can mean anything. You don't like to put it on. You would like to put on bare minimals instead of whatever that you're using. You would like to try different colors. I don't know, but the scratching or the refusal, the sign that you don't like it, or this, it means something. So think about it and be like, what is going on here? Am I even aware of this? Do I do it every time I talk about this, or I have to do that? And I know some things we just have to do them, but we can make it easier. We can make it more fun. We can give ourselves a prize after. So try to be more in contact with yourself using these nonverbal signs of joy and rejection, because they're little hints, but they're really important because it's your body telling you what it feels. And we're so used to being in our heads. We're so used to being, just busy and thinking and doing that we forget sensing. There's thinking, feeling, and sensing. And sensing goes back to your body. Do you push yourself harder than you should? Or do you not push yourself enough? Is your body really tired, but you ignore it? Does it cringe? Do you close? Do you move backwards? If you see somebody and you generally don't feel comfortable, other day happened to me, somebody started to talk about someone else, and it generally made me feel uncomfortable. And I wanted to scratch. I observed the scratch. What do? Do I have the courage to say, you know what? It makes me kind of uncomfortable that you're talking about this other person right now. Or do I move on with that? What do I do? And the thing is that the tension, the emotional tension that I feel, it sticks with me. It stays with me if I don't express it. And that goes for anything. If you're with a client and, okay, what's this? If you're with a client, okay, can you see you cannot not do it? I mean, I've been teaching this for years and I cannot not do it. And that's the wonderful thing. So I've been with a client and I moved back because I felt like we had done a lot, like a lot in a session, in a tidying session. And it came out like kind of like at the end that they wanted to do more. So first reaction is like, we have done a lot. No, it's not my fault, that they want to sit or stand with every teacher that they have. No reaction. Don't expect anything. What is really going on? So questions, open questions instead of my emotional reaction. It wasn't like, okay, let's compare things intellectually. I wish sometimes I was a little more intellectually minded. Like, let's compare, did we actually get as much done as we should have, or that she had expected, and so on. So no reaction and questions. Like, what would you have done? What would you have liked to have done? Like, no. And she was like, no, it's just, when the kids come home, I wanted everything to be in order, but I know we've done so much. And I was like, wow, it's about her being able to surprise her kids, everything being done. And it was, of course, not, but there's nothing wrong with our session. There's nothing wrong with what we have done. So just an open question to your client and trying to not react in the situation can be really helpful. Anytime if you get any kind of negativity with tidying, real life example, or do we really need someone to teach us how to fold our socks? Real life comment from someone, be curious, like what is that really about? So we have, do I really have to have someone teach me how to fold socks? Which word is really important? Where do I want to go? Could be teaching. They might have a person in their life that tells them what to do all the time. They cannot tell this person because this person might be the mother, the father, the partner, a boss, whomever. So that emotional tension comes out to somebody that is a lot easier to say it about someone else and someone that you completely don't know than to the ones that you love, because what's the risk? That they don't love you anymore if you tell what you really feel. Step one. So do we really need someone to teach us how to fold our socks? One possibility for me. Well, we have teachers all our lives, so why not? And then you see what happens. Yeah, but I have enough people that teach me what to do when I'm at home or when I'm at work or blah, 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 blah. So when I fold my socks, I just want to fold them however I wish. Okay, but you actually can. The method is free. And if you really feel like folding your socks in a different way, if that sparks joy for you, you can totally do that. You can be your own teacher and see how that works. But let's go back to socks. Let's see. So I take one of the words out of the sentence. Okay, I took tidying. Now we take socks. Maybe it's about socks. My gosh, like what is the law about socks? You always end up with 10 socks. I haven't gotten it. So if you know about that law, I know the law of octave and the law of gravity, law of attraction, but the law of ending up with 10 socks, I still haven't figured that one out. Maybe it's about, let's say it's about socks. It's like socks. I say, okay, socks. Yeah, I just hate socks. I mean, you put them in the washer and they come out. There's one, you put 2 in and 1 comes out. What's with this? Oh my gosh, I hate socks. It's a nightmare. Or I wish I could buy cashmere socks. I saw these perfect cashmere socks the other day, but they were like 50. I think they pay $50 for cashmere socks. I don't know. We don't know what it's about. But if we stay open and ask open questions and then watch all the signs, it's going to be, I promise you, it's going to be a completely different conversation from what you're used to. And you're going to have a different conversation with yourself. Let's do an experiment. If you want, on your own time, you can stand up and just feel your body. And you hold your right hand down your thighs and you just count money like this, as if you had money in your hand and then you need to count it. And you just stand there and you count money with your hand down like this. I'm just going to show it with the hand so you can see it. And really connect to your body. And your brain might go, oh my gosh, what is this kind of stuff? You don't have time for this. It takes 2 minutes, literally. So count money with your right hand and see if your body says yes or your body says no. And right hand is realist, which means that you actually are an idealist, but you're looking for more realism in your life. And see if you move forwards or move backwards. I move forward on the right hand. And then you try with the left hand. You can also keep it up here, but it's easier if you keep your hand along your thighs. So right hand first. And see if you move forwards or backwards. And then your left hand. And that's why when we do public speaking or when you talk in front of somebody, you're just talking to them literally, you want to use both your hands. And you want to use all the different analog signals that we have, but use both your hands because some people move forward on left hand and some people move forward on your right hand. And that's enough for me today. Pick one sign of joy or one sign of rejection and just go with it and observe it. Be curious, ask questions, feel your body, connect to yourself, spend a little time with yourself, whatever you feel like doing. Maybe it's baking, cooking, cleaning, meditating, and feel your breath, feel your body. And good luck on observing the signals and good luck on getting